This insurrection, it was a great leader in Israel that fought against Hadrian. His name was Bar Kokhba, which means the son of the rising. All right. Now Bar Kokhba was a great warrior, and he tried to stand up for his people. He was a warrior on the level of the Maccabees type of level, but he made one statement in history. He was so upset with the whites that was coming down on him that he asked the Most High to stay out of the war and let him deal with his enemies himself, which was a foolish statement to make. This is probably why he fell as a man, but it shows his anger that it shows the anger that he had. He had great anger against the whites that came against him in that era. His name is Bar Kokhba. All right, read on.
And Eusebius and a few other sporadic details. The sources even differ about the cause of this tremendous insurrection, which spread very widely and caused this tremendous insurrection, which spread very widely and went on several years, so we cannot be certain why it broke out. Dio Cassius says that the foundation of the Roman city of Ahrayah Capitolina.
The reason that the insurrection actually broke out with the Jews on the time of the Hadrian was because Hadrian went and renamed Jerusalem, so it made the Jews mad as hell. He went and named it Ahrayah Capitolina, and then from that point put Jupiter statues in the temple, and he just renamed the whole city. So the Jews got mad as hell. And keep in mind that most of the Jews was living in Alexandria and Cyrene, in this particular area, Cyprus, and some of them had migrated back up toward the area. They knew what was going on. So they got mad as hell and they started uprising because of what Hadrian had done. Read on.
Okay. Dio Cassius says that the foundation of the Roman city of Ahrayah Capitolina on the site of the ruins of Jerusalem.
So he built it right on the site, or right in Jerusalem. He changed the name of Jerusalem to that name. Read on.
And the erection of a shrine of Jupiter on the site of the former temple made the Jews, who now saw heathen life and even heathen worship arising on the site that was still holy to them, so intensely furious that they took up arms.
So they got mad as hell and said, hell with this, let's go to war. And then that's what brought that insurrection under the time of Hadrian, which was 117 to 138 AD. Now this insurrection took place in 132 AD. Read on.
According to Dio Cassius, the foundation of Ahrayah Capitola was connected with the journey to the Orient which the Emperor Hadrian undertook in the year AD 129. Hadrian was first of all in Syria, in the province of Arabia, which had been reorganized under Trajan in the year AD 106. He even went to Egypt for the winter of 130 to 131 AD and came back to Syria in the year of 131.
Okay, so we see what took place here. And from this point, I want to skip over to the part about Kokhba. All right, this particular brother that stood up for Israel and did a great onslaught against the heathens that was coming against Jerusalem. All right, you can start reading on page 451. Okay. Which one?
It is impossible to trace the course of events in detail. A man named Simon became the leader of the rising. According to Christian writers, he was given the honorary name of Bar Kokhba, son of the star.
Son of the star, son of the rising. Okay. Okay, I mentioned Bar Kokhba, which was a warrior of Israel that fought against the Emperor Hadrian.
What's his name again?
Bar Kokhba, which means son of the rising. And there was confusion over his name. Some scholars tried to say that his name meant the son of a liar and all this madness, but there was records found on his name, and his name actually means son of the rising. son of the star. All right. Now, what we're going to read a few footnotes to prove that they have information about this brother and how he led the insurrection against Hadrian. And from that point, we're going to proceed further on up, dealing with the Septimus Severus, which was a prominent leader in the Roman Empire, prominent black leader in the Roman Empire. From this point, we're going to read about Bar Kokhba. Read.
Okay. A sensational discovery made very recently appears to throw light on the question of the name. In the winter of 1951 to 52, the fragments of numerous documents were found near the Dead Sea, about 15 miles southeast of Jerusalem.
Now, a lot of this information was found on this brother, part of the Dead Sea Scrolls, that proves that he actually did lead the insurrection during the time of Hadrian. Read on.
In a very inaccessible cave on the Wadi Murabiah, they include a proclamation and 2 letters from a Simon ben Kokhba, whom he is greatly tempted to identify with the leader of the Jewish insurrection under Hadrian.
Okay, so this confirms that he was the leader during this insurrection during the time of Hadrian. Further on up, a while back I mentioned about Marcus Aurelius, one of the emperors, one of the five so-called good emperors. From this point, after him came Commodus for a short period of time, and from after Commodus came Septimus Severus. And what I'm going to show you now is a picture of Septimus Severus from the book called The Western Heritage by Donald Kagan. I gave you the author's name earlier. Here's a picture of Septimus Severus. Now this is a picture of Septimus Severus, the black man that took over Rome in 193 AD. His rival was Basilius Niger. His name itself tells you that he was black. Basilius Niger. Septimus Severus ended up becoming the first black emperor of Rome. After him, his sons took over, and the blacks ruled Europe for 1,000 years.
Could you tell me
about that? It was called the Middle Ages, the Byzantine Empire. It was called the Dark Ages. These are names that was applied to the dominant rulership of the black people that governed Europe for 1,000 years.
Could you tell me what they did with that picture?
Now, what took place in this picture is that his wife picture and his son picture is whitewashed. During the Renaissance era, period 1492, Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, under the leadership of Pope Alexander VI of Rome, their whole mission was to go out and train people, themselves, and to train people to bleach out and to deface black relics, black pictures, in order to destroy the history of the black people that governed Europe for 1,000 years. And also, we govern the Middle East and coming from our homeland, Israel. All right, one of the pictures altogether marred out. All right, it's mentioned in the history of Septimus about his sons, Caracalla, Severus, Alexander, and the history tells about them and how they ruled after he died. Now, what we're going to read here is different captures about what took place during this period of Septimus Severus.
Did that mark his son all the way out of that picture?
Yeah, they completely erased his face, probably because they couldn't. They couldn't distort it enough to prove that the boy was black. So they just had to mar the whole face out. All right. So we're going to read out of this book called The Western Heritage a few paragraphs, about 2 paragraphs concerning this period that Septimus Severus governed. We're on page 219 in the book called The Western Heritage by Donald Kagan. Read.
Rome's perils were caused, no doubt, by the unprecedentedly numerous and simultaneous attacks against her.
So because you had barbarians, allegedly barbarians that was attacking Rome.